How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews, back with a little bit of a Saison Dupont up in this piece. 2017 Saison Dupont up in this piece. Not just that, a little bit of extra dry hopped version Saison Dupont in form of their, Styrian Eureka version of this. I've seen a couple of these around. I haven't seen this exact hop combo on here before. Listen, we're not even a week removed, or week until Christmas, and Christmas time, old ales, barley wines, Belgian darks, Saison, those kind of things are the beers that I typically want to drink around this time. So I saw this and I was like, let me pick it up, and I did some research. 3 years old, so it's going to be kind of interesting. Saison Dupont, fantastic beer in general. To have that added component of the dry hopping on it should lead to something fun. See how it kind of lasted over those 3 years. It's not a big beer. I believe Saison Dupont is like 6 and change, I believe. Broke out my OG Duvel oversized tulip glass here. I used to do all my beer reviews with this exact glass. If you go back, it was like the only glass I would ever use. I wanted to have this kind of control and be like, I'm going to use the same glass every time. Yeah, well, after a couple of years, I broke that habit, and here we are. So let's throw that up there. It looks absolutely beautiful, actually. Unfiltered Belgian farmhouse ale, 6.5%. Every year, DuPont's brewmaster, I can never spell his name, Olivier Derderick, makes a limited edition dry hop version of the brewery's world famous Saison Dupont, incorporating a different hop variety. For 2017, Olivier chose the Slovenian hop Styrian Eureka, known for its spicy and earthy flavor. I always thought you got a little fruity, stone hoppy things off of it. We'll see what's what. Brewed, let's see, with striking notes of fresh fruit. There it is, and lively citrus character. Pairing it with chili lime marinated fish, creamy curries, or even fiery chicken wings. Going for the American vote there, are we? So, label-wise, classic DuPont. That beer, I mean, it looks like a hazy, but then again, you're talking about Saison Dupont, you're talking about an unfiltered Saison. They're kind of the original hazies, along with wheat beer. So, infinitely cool, creamy, pillowy, rocky, topped kind of head to it. Pretty compact towards the bottom, but it gets kind of neurotic towards the top, and it just has this soft orange glow to it. Yeah, looks the part of something delicious. See if we get a nose. Now I remember why I love this glass so much. It's like the best drinking glass ever made. Because it's big enough to where I never overpour myself, to where I can't get a proper nose on it. It has that kind of peak inward, because I'll kind of focus a bit of nose. But if you give it a good swirl, it really does release a lot of stuff. So I'm just getting heaping amounts of citrus on here. If you told me blind, or if you gave it a semi-blind, without the bottle, just kind of hand this to me, I wouldn't say it's not Saison, but it definitely has a lot of similarities with a nice, soft, hazy pale ale. Something like a 5% hazy pale ale. Sure, there's a little bit of funkiness. There's a little bit of kind of straw-like stuff. Not necessarily like a wet hay kind of barnyardy thing going on, but it's a grainy, kind of strawy, kind of wheat characteristic, with the ever so slightest bit of the spiciness. That's kind of your pepperiness, spiciness coming off that Saison yeast. But man, it really does have this soft citrus characteristic that makes me think of a new school kind of little pale ale in a very positive way. That's not a knock against this beer at all. It smells delicious. Let's dive in. Cheers. I mean, that's really cool. Man, that's really cool. I am blown away by the levels of citrus I'm getting out of this beer. On a 3-year-old beer, because it has to be part of those hops. It has to be, sure. It could be part of the yeast. There could be a little bit of Brett seed kind of thing going on here. But it does come off as this kind of small, little, really well done hazy pale with this spicy, peppery kind of finish to it, which is partly part of the hop also. But I believe that's coming more from the yeast. This is effing delicious. Yeah. 3 years did not do this beer dirty. It's got a nice little Merc ring on there. You guys aren't going to be able to see that. And it just really does kind of marry what I would come to remember from a classic Saison Dupont. You get that little bit of spicy pepperiness, a little bit of that kind of Saison. It is starting to eke a little bit more funky with every sip I take. So that little bit of funky kind of a grainy kind of wheat characteristic in it, in a very drinkable package. But then when you add this dollop, this hefty dollop, this meaningful, purposeful dollop of the way this kind of citrusy fruitiness is coming off, I'm sure it had maybe a little bit more kind of range with its fruitiness when it was a bit fresher. But the way those citrus fruits are kind of coming off in such a classic, well-made beer, it really does remind me of new school kind of well-done hazy pales. I'm not talking, residual sugar, throw all the hops at it, let's just make something hazy and turbid and throw it on the shelf. I'm talking about a drinkable, well-done, upper echelon, like 5% hazy pale. Let's go there. Hazy Belgian pale ale. I mean, let's go there. But then you add that combination of that classic Dupont kind of Saison yeast on it. It's a home run. This is a fantastic beer. This is better than I hoped it would be. I was kind of like, oh man, let's, hopefully it's going to be good. Hopefully it's going to be just as good as the base Saison Dupont. It's better. That's how much I like this beer. God damn, this is good. You'd be really hard pressed to find something with this much depth and character, both from the Saison side of things, in combination with the way the hops are coming off here in that new school kind of fashion. Eureka's not a new school hop; it's an old school hop, but the way it's showing itself here is very new school in a very, very tasty way. I love this beer. I forget how much I paid for this. I think I paid less than $10 for this. I'm going to buy them all, and I'm going to drink all of them, because this is absolutely fantastic. This is beer. This is beer-flavored beer. This is what I want to drink. Yeah. Guess what, guys? I like this beer. I don't know if you knew that so far. Anyway, I mean, really not much else to say. Classic Saison, classic Dupont Saison yeast. Nice little funkiness, kind of bigger and bigger with a taste. Didn't really show up in the nose, but it definitely reared its head in the taste. It has this nice soft pepperiness to it, like that little funk I was talking about. And then once you get into the hoppy side of things, that aggressive kind of Eureka hop that really leans heavily citrus, this little kind of marrying of kind of a tannic tea-like bittering on the other end of things, it ends up being just a beautiful, beautiful beer. So yeah, it is one of my favorite Saisons that I've had as of late. Let's put it that way. It is probably Mount Rushmore status. I dig this. It is delicious. It does not suck. How much did I pay for it? Like I said, I think I paid like $10, give or take, for this. I pulled it off a shelf. That doesn't suck. And leave you with, if you like, you like this beer. If you like beer, if you like craft beer, if you don't drink this, just give me something else. Then you can go fuck yourself, because this is fucking delicious. And sure, bottles can, from bottle to bottle can be different. The prominence of where it's been, who's touched it, how it's treated can change it. So you can get a poopy bottle of this. But, I'm ripping this off a shelf of a store in Jersey, and it's this good. I have very, very high hopes that this beer is extremely stable. I mean, it's Saison Dupont. That's what they do. So, yeah, if you don't like this beer, I don't know what to tell you. Pastry stouts, I guess. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massif if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of a little dry hopped Eureka Saison Dupont right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.